face. By the time they say, "Oh, Sharon, you're so good, you're so good," you will not tell them that it took us a lot of war to get to where we are today. Are you live now? Yeah. So you allow me to be talking like that. I thought you were going back. Good morning, everyone. I apologize if you saw what you were not supposed to see or hear what you were not supposed to hear. I blame it all on Sharon. Okay, so we're going live. Welcome inside the locker room. We're going live. Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. I'm Ayo Myro Essay. It is time for the Locker Room 981. We're going to be talking sports for the next 30 minutes, and I'm not alone. You know me. I'm here as a moderator. But joining me this morning is Inyobong Monday. Morning, Inyobong.
Good morning, Ayo. Very good to be here, and you're a fantastic moderator, by the way.
Thank you.
Great to be here again.
Thank you very much. I might not know how to pronounce Vienna, but I'm a fantastic moderator. The Locker Room 981 is brought to you by Bet King. All right, if you'd like to join the conversation, we're live on YouTube, youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos. We're also on WhatsApp, so if you want to send us your message or you want to respond to any of the stories, use the WhatsApp platform 0809 444 0981. Now, don't forget that, or not to forget, but we are going to be opening the phone lines halfway into the show. So after 8:30 mark, we'll open the phone lines. I want to talk about the second leg. Eagles we have to retaliate. They beat us first round. We have to, return the favor. So we'll be predicting that match and reviewing what we think will happen tonight.
Match has been played already, by the way.
Oh, has it? You see what I said? Let me stick to my moderator job. Yes, it was yesterday. It was Tuesday.
Yes, it was yesterday.
Who won?
No winner, no vanquish.
Oh gosh, you see why I did not really take note. I blame the internet. I couldn't. Okay, let me not problem. I was deep up. So we're going to review that match at 8:30 a.m. when we open the phone lines. But before then, Inyobong will give us his take on it. But before we go into football, let's talk boxing. Anthony Joshua's world heavyweight title fight against Alexander Usyk set to be staged at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Anthony Joshua's planned world heavyweight title fight against Alexander Usyk is set to be staged at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, according to Sky Sports News. Britain's WBA, IBF, and WBO champion has been holding talks about a fight against WBO mandatory challenger Usyk, and the 62,000-seated venue has been picked as the preferred venue for the bout, which is expected to be scheduled in September. Joshua had agreed to face Kubrat Pulev at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last June, but the fight was switched to Wembley Arena last December due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
It's a great one for Joshua. Not particularly very great because he wanted to fight Tyson Fury. That one didn't happen, and it's quite frustrating for him because Tyson Fury has been talking tough, in the past few months, and he really wanted to get that out of the way. In Saudi Arabia, looked like everything was agreed before the shenanigans with Tyson Fury's issue with the courts, and it's great to find an opportunity for him to fight again. And this one has been scheduled for the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. He's a London boy, and he quite wants to fight in London in front of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it would be an absolutely cracking one. I quite like the fact that Joshua has kept his head very calm, and he's trying not to talk too much. And we all know the fight he wants is Tyson Fury. I just do have a feeling that this is just going to be a practice for Tyson for Joshua, not being disrespectful to Alexander Usyk, because I think he's a great fighter as well. But Joshua is on another level at the moment, and he's looking forward to Tyson Fury. And I don't know what Tyson Fury makes of this, but I know that Tyson Fury has got his own bout with Deontay Wilder as well. I hope that both of them come through winning, because we really want to see Tyson Fury and AJ go into the ring and just finish this thing once and for all, because there's been a lot of talk, and I know a lot of talk is associated with boxing, but we're looking forward to that one as well.
They are paid. I think part of the package or contract is talking. You cannot be a good boxer, if you're not a
exactly. And they can talk. I mean, I was we talked about the fight on Sunday night, and we talked about it on Monday, and it built up to that fight. They were cursing each other, they were swearing at each other, and then after the bout, they were almost hugs and kisses, and I mean, they were saying nice things to each other. I said, these people just they use our head.
You know, it reminds me of Nigerian politics, or not Nigerian politicians.
Yeah.
They fight in public, or they throw words
Exactly.
and at the back they're patting
Exactly.
their back.
That's why I tell people you never. I mean, talking of policy, you never quite want to fight for these people, because the truth of the matter is that these people just have an interest.
Yeah.
And once there's a conflict of that interest, they're going to go crazy. But behind the scenes, they're very cool friends. They sit in the same circles, have beer together, and all of that. So I think boxers are like that. They just come out and give us a show.
You mean
because
have juice together? This is 8:21 a.m. I'll have coffee or tea together. But you're spot on. You know, and as we were speaking, just to digress a little or come back, is that there's so many things there's so many comparisons between politics and boxing.
Exactly.
In many parts of the world, we've seen that many parliamentarians have the skill of boxing.
Exactly.
Because,
I see what you did there.
They box
Exactly.
in the house. So sometimes maybe they forget that they're not in the boxing ring.
Yeah,
And of course,
exactly.
they talk as well. They talk and make a lot of noise, and then behind closed doors, they are
Shots
friends.
fired.
Yeah. So yeah, nice one. Okay, let's go on to some football now. Eagles hold Lions in second friendly in Austria. Nigeria played out a goalless draw with Cameroon on Tuesday in an international friendly at the Stadion Vienna Nossa in Austria. The Eagles were hoping to avenge their 1-0 loss to the indomitable Lions 4 days earlier at the same venue, while also hoping to hand head coach Gernot Rohr his first win in his last 7 friendlies. But their arch rivals held on for a stalemate in Vienna.
Wasn't a good one again, and I know we talked about it on Monday. I thought the performance on Monday on Friday was okay, but this one was depressing. If I'm being honest, it was quite depressing, because I thought the Cameroonians played better than us again, and they didn't just score. We will be cleared off the line. I just don't know what's wrong with our team, to be honest. I really don't know what's wrong with our team. And I'm frustrated again with the manager, frustrated with the fact that we talked about friendly games. When we talk about friendly games, we talk about the fact that you're using it to test players, give new players an opportunity. What is the essence of inviting players and putting them on the bench because you want to win a football match? A football match that, in all honesty, is not that consequential. It's just a friendly game. You're trying to test your methods. The World Cup qualifiers is starting soon. We have the Africa Cup of Nations at the start of next year. And the manager is still insisting on playing the old guards. It just doesn't make any sense for me. And I'll be very interested in what our listeners have to say about this, because going into a game like this, what exactly are your expectations as a football fan? As a football fan, yes, I want Nigeria to win every football match they play. But if winning every football match will come at the detriment of all really building our team, I don't think I want that as a football fan, because it's not about winning friendly games. It's about winning the important games. And the important games are the qualifiers. The important games are the tournaments, the Africa Cup of Nations, the World Cup qualifiers. Not just doing well in friendly games. I want us to do well in friendly games, make no mistake about that. But I don't think the manager is quite showing that understanding of what he needs to be doing at this point in time, because you can't be inviting players into the team to people who want to see them, and you're playing the older players who we have seen over and over and over again. It just doesn't make any sense for me.
All right, so the problem is the coach.
I think so too. I've tried to pull my punch, but I really think the manager needs to go at this point. I'm sorry. Yeah. I really feel the manager is not going to take us further. Maybe we can allow him the Africa Cup of Nations, maybe the World Cup, but I just don't think he looks like the guy who can take us to the level which our fans, the level of our expectation deserves, because Nigerian football fans are very expectant. I know sometimes we take our expectations overboard, but I just feel like at this point in time, we need a manager with a different direction, a different mindset, a different way of playing football, and a different understanding of the game. I just said it on Monday, and I'm really sorry. I hope he's not listening. The Gunner is pretty old school for me, and I'm sorry.
If he's listening, it's your job to tell the truth.
No, because sometimes he could. Some of these people can take these things personal, but I just don't feel he's the guy who can take our football to where we want to be.
All right, you heard it from in your bong. Olufemi Omotayo says, "What's the essence of Gernot Rohr's 4+ years in the saddle as Super Eagles gaffer when the team still doesn't have a pattern?"
Exactly.
I think it is time to move on. What do you think? Is it time for Gernot Rohr to move on? Do you think that it wasn't really his fault? By the way, let's even analyze the players. Who would you say was the man of the match? In terms of from the Nigeria's team perspective, and who would you say was the weakest link in yesterday's match?
Sad thing, I can't pick a man of the match on our team.
Oh,
I mean, I used the word depressing, and I thought that was really being kind, because I thought it was way worse than depressing. Because I looked at our game for 90 minutes, and I'm thinking, what exactly are we doing? Because like the listener just sent the message. Where is the pattern? What exactly are we doing? How are we playing? Because you see, just like a bunch. I'm sorry, and this is not me not being sexist. Imagine girls playing football, girls who don't know how to play football.
No, that's sexist too.
I'm sorry, but I know women play football. I'm talking women who are not professional footballers.
Okay, or men who are not professional footballers.
Or men who are not professional. Men, I thank you for the correction. For men who are not professional footballers, I'm just seeing boys kick football on my street, and they're just running headlessly, like they don't know what they're doing. No direction, no cohesion. No plan. It just looks like. So what are you training for? What exactly have you been training for days? And it's so annoying. I sat down, I saw the game, and we're streaming the game online, wasting our precious data. Streaming the game, and it was so poor. It was so porous, and it just doesn't make any sense to me that after 4 or 5 years in the job, the Super Eagles still do not have an identity. And it has to be the manager.
So if Gernot Rohr decides to leave, or we help him to leave, who would you say? Who would you say is the man for the job? Who would you shortlist as the man for the job if you're looking for shopping for a new coach?
And I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know from the top of my head, but I would think that clearly we've got to aspire for bigger managers. I know the financial limitations we've got, but we've got to go out there and look for a better manager. A better manager in terms of his pedigree. What has he done before now? Because I look at Gernot Rohr, and I'm sorry, his CV is good. As a club manager, he's a decent CV, but as an ambitious nation who's aiming to achieve great things, trophies, you've got to look for a manager who's been winning things. You've got to look for a manager who's got a great pedigree, who has won trophies, because you can't win if it's not in you. I'm sorry. Gernot Rohr doesn't just have it in him. He's not a bad manager. He's stabilized our football. I said that on Monday. But he's not just a guy who understands what it means to win.
All right. Okay, so I can see a number of comments. Don't forget, I said after the break, we're going to take calls, and that's 0144899981. I'll start with comments. Ronson said, I don't know his definition of friendlies. That's about Gernot Rohr. And saying that he needs to be quizzed. Chidozie says, the last time Anthony Joshua, so going back to the first story, didn't prepare for a fight or seemingly didn't put his heart to it. He lost to a man who usually has tacos for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And Ruiz Jr., someone please send AJ and SOS. Cruz has suggested a manager for Nigeria. He says Pep Guardiola. We can be ambitious. Bimbo says Rohr will remain the Nigerian coach as long as he doesn't complain about unpaid salary. I hope you know he's always been owed by the NFL.
Exactly.
Better managers complain when not paid.
Fantastic.
He looks like he's gotten. He's Nigerian. He doesn't. No plans to move.
He's worked in Africa for a while now. He worked in Gabon, worked in one other African country. So he's used to the African way of doing things, that sometimes they will owe you and you will not complain. And when you don't complain, you are the nice guy. And people want the nice guy everywhere. And it is sickening. It's just sickening. And that person makes a very good point, because the NFF are comfortable with a guy who they not necessarily push around, but a guy who can understand, show understanding. But if Pep Guardiola walks in the door, if you owe him for 2 days, he'll walk out of the job.
1 hour.
That's it. That's the thing.
Children Nancy says our national team for me now is nothing to write home about. Imagine a 34-year-old Giroud still scoring goals for France. But our so-called Super Eagles youngsters can't even register a shot on target. All right, let's go on a break. When we come back from this break, we'll open the phone lines. Let's get your take on this. Let's hear you speak about or your review of yesterday's match against the return leg with the Lions of Cameroon. It's Smooth 98.1, Love Music, Love Life. This segment of the Locker Room 981 is brought to you by Bet King.
This is Cole, and you're listening to Smooth.
All right, YouTube, let's hear your thoughts. Let me see your comments. Anyway. And okay, so we're gonna open the phone lines and shortly, then we'll go to our next story. Aleti.
Don't even think about touching that.
Smooth 98.1, Love Music, Love Life. When you think of us, one of the words you would hear is unbreakable, unbeatable. That's who we are. Unfortunately, the Eagles haven't proven unbeatable, as in the last match against the Lions of Cameroon. They lost and 1-0 to Cameroon, and in yesterday's second friendly, they drew with the Lions of Cameroon. It's still the Locker Room 981 here on Smooth 98.1, and this is where we talk sports. Now, if you'd like to join the conversation, we're opening the phone lines right now. We're reviewing yesterday's friendly with the Lions of Cameroon. And Inyobong Monday is with me, and he has described the match as depressing. So let me know your thoughts. You can call me on 0144899981 or still send your message on WhatsApp 0809 4440981. Is it time for hashtag? Okay, well, cannot use that now, but get not roll out or not? Chara says, I don't think our current national team manager can take us anywhere. Tega from Satellite Town says, bottom line, Raw is out of ideas and the man has gotten to his limits with the Super Eagles.
Fact.
Akin Adesoji says, hello people, Gernot Raw is an old school coach and has run out of ideas. He has nothing new to offer us. Why doesn't he give NPFL local players a chance? Once his contract expires, we should set him free. Since I saw the stat that showed no country has won the World Cup with a foreign coach, I knew we had to look inwards. I believe Emmanuel Amunike should be our next Super Eagles coach. He can continue where Stephen Keshi stopped. Nice idea. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from, please? Oh, hello, Ronson. Thanks for joining. Please go ahead with your comment.
Okay, I didn't see the game yesterday. I was at work. So I didn't even remember the game was, it was when I finished working and I checked the stats and I find a no 0 shot on target because that's my major, apart from goal, that's the major point I check in a match. I don't check ball possession. And I 0 shot on target. What? Nigeria no shot on target in the area of stars or something. I was disappointed.
Oh dear.
That for the past 7 matches, he hasn't won any. Well, let's just keep our finger crossed. I mean, we'll get a new coach.
All right, thank you very much, Ronson. We have Olufemi Mota saying Oliver Giroud has to be one of the luckiest players if he goes ahead to topple Thierry Henry as France's all-time goal scorer. Let's go on. If you want to still call, you can, but let's move on to Crystal Palace close to appointing former Nuno Espirito Santo as new boss. Crystal Palace are close to finalizing a deal to make former Wolves boss Nuno Espirito Santo their new manager. Palace have been searching for a replacement for Roy Hodgson, who stepped down at the conclusion of the 2020-2021 season following close to 4 years in charge, and hope to have a new manager in place by the weekend. The Portuguese held 3 days worth of talks about the Selhurst Park job last week and has held further positive discussions with the club's board. Should he be appointed, it would complete a swift return to Premier League management for Nuno, who left Wolves by mutual consent at the end of the season.
I'm very pleased for Nuno Espirito Santo. I think he's one of the brightest young managers in world football, and he's a black manager. And I was quite disappointed when he left Wolves, because it would have meant that the Premier League would not have any black manager again in the Premier League. He's from Portugal. But he's got African descent, roots in him. He's from Cape Verde Island, actually, and it's great to know that he's close to getting another job in the Premier League, and it's quite wonderful, because I think managers like that don't run out of jobs. He's a great guy. His project at Wolves started very well, very sprightly, and it didn't just quite evolve in the manner the owners were expecting. But I think he's a great guy going into a job at Crystal Palace. I think he's got a tougher job at Crystal Palace than what he had at Wolves, because Crystal Palace have got a backlog of players who are over 30 or out of contract. They need to overhaul the entire squad. But the good thing about Crystal Palace is that they still have fine young players there. Eberechi Eze is one of them, and it's quite great to have Nuno Espirito Santo potentially back in the Premier League.
Yeah. All right, great stuff. I just did a quick search. It's good to have him still in the Premier League, and we look forward to him taking Crystal Palace to the next level. Won't it be just fantastic if he leads, and allow me to dream now, please.
Yeah.
Leads them to top 4, top 6, or even ultimately winning the league. It would be the first time, if I'm correct, that a black coach will be taking a team to winning levels at the EPL.
Exactly. It would be fantastic. Honestly, it would be unbelievable, because I mean, black managers never get a job, get opportunities at the highest level anywhere in world football, and the Premier League is the ultimate in terms of big leagues in Europe, and it's great to see a black manager out there doing really, really good. And like you said, I mean, if you could take Crystal Palace to top 6, Crystal Palace are not a side who you would normally associate with even top 8. If he manages to do that with them in his first season, top 7, top 8, that would be an astonishing achievement. And man, you look at Nuno Espirito Santo, you always feel that he's meant for the very highest level. He's meant for, I'm sorry, with due respect to Crystal Palace, I don't think he's a Crystal Palace brand of manager. I think he's an Arsenal, Chelsea kind of manager.
That's what Chidozie is saying here on WhatsApp.
He belongs in that category.
Why
I think
is Everton not picking up
exactly.
Crystal Palace seem to be making smart decisions by employing him.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
Yeah, Chijoke says, let's get rid of Coach Ogenero and give the job to a good Nigerian coach. He has not even achieved what Stephen Keshi did. Do you agree?
I totally agree. And the problem with Nigerian coaches is, if a Nigerian coach takes over the job, and it's not his fault, if a Nigerian coach takes the job, there's a lot of disrespect that comes with it. Because you're Nigerian, because you're black, there's so much disrespect. They're going to pay a foreign manager, and deservedly so, tons of money. And you're going to pay a Nigerian manager not even a quarter of what you're going to pay a foreign manager. And then you're disrespecting him. Then you're owing him. And then you want to decide what happens with his team. So much disrespect. And people like Sunday Olise who have coached this team. I mean, we've got really bright coaches. Someone mentioned Emmanuel Amunike, and I totally agree. Someone that, these are coaches who are getting jobs outside of Nigeria. Countries. Amunike took Tanzania to their first ever Nations Cup in 2019. I mean, Sunday Olise is a great manager, coach in Europe. But when they come to Nigeria, they say the Bible cannot be wrong now. The prophet has no honor in his hometown. And it is that way. The problem, we will not change. That Nigerianness, if you like, will always come in the way, because they always look at you. See finish will always enter.
It's quite unfortunate. How do we then begin? Anyways, let me not even start that. How do we then begin to talk about fairness? Or else
exactly.
For ourselves, we don't have respect for
exactly. You know, I've had this conversation on popular opinion. I mean, we talk about racism, and it's a big problem. But if you really look at amongst us, we're racist among us. We discriminate among each other.
Yeah. Let's take this call. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning, Ayo.
Yes, please. Kindly turn off your audio. We can hear the feedback, please. Help us. So what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Yomi. I'm calling from Surulere.
All right, Yomi, please go ahead. Thank you.
Iniobong got it spot on. Iniobong, good morning.
Good morning.
I think it's high time we changed our coach and we stopped hiring foreign coaches. For outside of Emmanuel Amunike, what stops the trio of maybe Kanwonpo, JD Okocha, and possibly Finidi, if they have the time? If they have the time, what stops them from leading our team? It's not compulsory to have one coach. It's not. If we have a bench that will take care of totality of Nigerian football as a whole, what stops us from hiring them? Because fine, we may not even be able to afford to pay them, but the fact that if we give them the opportunity, it's also an opportunity to have a distinct Nigerian way of playing.
Yeah.
Like Iniobong said, Nigerian coaches are not respected in our own homeland, but I think we can start with something.
Yeah.
So that's just my own opinion.
Excellent. So I thank you so very much, Yomi. Thanks. All right. I think that's something that a number of people are looking at, and hopefully we would see progress in that direction. Let's continue. We have Swedish billionaire Daniel Ek ready to launch a new Arsenal takeover bid worth more than £2 billion. The Swedish billionaire Daniel Ek is preparing to increase his Arsenal takeover bid to more than £2 billion following his unsuccessful opening offer of £1.8 billion last month. Ek claimed that under fire, Gunners owners, the Kroenke family, had told him that they didn't need the money when he tried to buy the club last time. However, sources close to the Ek camp have disclosed that a second bid worth or north of £2 billion is being readied, and that they are not going anywhere and want to get a deal done. Club insiders have admitted they are waiting for a second offer.
Arsenal fans will be very excited about this because the hashtag Kroenke out has been on the burners for a very, very long time, and I hope this forces their hand. I'm an Arsenal fan, a very unrepentant one, and I hope that this offer gets accepted because Arsenal needs a new source of leadership and in new fronts in terms of the boardroom, because I think they've frustrated the Arsenal project for a very long time. The club is not making any headway, they're not making any inroads, and they need certainly an influx of cash. They need to spend big because in the market now, the football, the name of the game is money. If you're not spending good money, you're not getting good quality, and it's that simple. And Daniel Ek is really, really serious about taking over the club and putting some real invention and in influx of cash into Arsenal. And I hope this particular one gets accepted because I quite like the fact that he says he's not going anywhere, which means he's basically saying, even if you do not accept this, I will come back with another one. And at some point, to probably force your hands. And with the protests, there have been lots of protests on the internet, at the Emirates Stadium, showing their displeasure of what they think of the board. And I think Stan Kroenke, George Kroenke, and the Kroenke family need to leave Arsenal alone, please.
Leave, maybe the hashtag should change, leave Arsenal alone. Please, don't forget to add the please. Right, Chara says, I think Arsenal need this billionaire money to make them stronger again because they need a new man at the head of management. Money is needed in modern day football.
Exactly.
Anyway, London is always blue. Chara, you had to say that. All right, let's go on to our final story for today. In the last 1 minute, Brazil Supreme Court to consider halting Copa America. Brazil Supreme Court said Tuesday it would hold hearings on 2 requests to block the Copa America, casting new doubt on the troubled South American Football Championships 5 days from kickoff.
Yeah, it's a sad one because the pandemic has absolutely ravaged Brazil, and they are second in terms of the lives lost to only America. They've lost, I think, 400 and close to 500,000 lives, and the nation is accepting to host a tournament in the midst of a very ravaging pandemic. It's absolutely insane because you're having people come from other countries into your country And it is really, really regrettable. And I don't know the future of the Copa America, particularly this year, but Brazil are standing their ground. They're insisting that they're going to host the tournament. We're still waiting for a final decision. We're hearing a final decision will be made this morning about hosting the Copa America, but it just doesn't make any sense. Remember, the regional host of the Copa America, Colombia, stood down and said they couldn't host the tournament anymore because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And Brazil, who are being ravaged by the pandemic, are saying we can do the good Samaritan. But I think this is being a bad Samaritan, because if you're having people into your country in the midst of a pandemic, it's just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Emeka from Amor says, I thought Aliko Dangote wanted to make a bid for Arsenal. Has he shied away?
I don't think he's shied away. I don't think he's in a financially good place at the moment.
Refinery first.
I think so too.
All right, thank you so very much, Inyobong. Always good to have you on the show, and thanks to everyone who's been a part of this conversation. You make the show even richer. Right, let's go on a break. When we come back at 9 o'clock, we'll be having a conversation on the road to 2023. Your votes are your rights. Let's talk about that with our guest, Obinna Osisogu from We Vote Nigeria. Stay tuned here on Smooth 98.1.